Thought you might be interested in a very quick summary of the steps that you can use to build the capacity of your humanitarian team. Just what it says on the slide there. There's 5 simple steps. Obviously, making it happen is a lot harder, but I thought it might be interesting to see the approach that we can take to do that. Let me move on with the slides. All right, so here are the steps: diagnose, prioritize, practice, perform, and reflect and adjust. I would say this is more oriented around capacity in the sense of skills. If you're mainly focused on capacity in the sense of processes and systems, that practice step becomes something more like build or put in practice. But everything else more or less remains the same. Right, let's look at each one by one. So diagnose is about doing a strong analysis. It doesn't just mean asking people what they think is a problem. It means doing that, but also looking at other data, using your experience, and trying to understand what is beneath the issues that people identify, what's really driving it. So it's a genuine analysis. It's not a survey at this point. So you diagnose what the main issues are, and you've got a list of skills, lists of things that you could change at the end. This step people often forget because they try to fix everything at once. And in fact, what you need to do is to look at that list and prioritize. When you do that, it allows you to actually put some energy and shift the most important skills, issues, however you want to say it. So you're moving it forwards as you do that. If you try to do everything at once, you end up doing nothing. This is the part where we're often thinking about training, but rather than thinking about training courses and learning stuff, it's much more helpful to think of it as practice. So how are the people going to practice this new skill? And that's what your training design ends up looking like. It's a series of practice tasks. It's all about how can we get people to practice this skill that they need to have and use on the job. As I say, if you're doing process, it's about what do we need to do to institute this process, to have people start to use it, or as a system to start to use it, what inputs need to feed in from which place. So this is where you're starting to create the new condition, let's say, but starting to. Once you've done that, you move on to the 4th stage, which is perform. This is about not just performing at a high level, but performing in the sense of doing it, using it in real life, it becoming part of how you do the job. And obviously, everyone isn't going to be an expert instantly, but they have to actually start doing it. And that's where genuine improvement can come along. The good thing is this is where you can also start to see results. You've re-engineered a process so that there's fewer steps. Well, there should be a little bit less work involved, right? You're starting to use a different approach to community discussions. Your team are doing it more skillfully. You should start to see results in terms of your accountability systems and feedback, or in terms of the relations you build with partners, whatever it might be. And finally, you need to reflect and adjust. So once you've started using it, it's become part of how you do the job, you're going to notice different things along the way that can be improved. So it's not just saying, okay, there's a one-time intervention, we train people, they start to use it, everything's brilliant. You also need to adapt and adjust and start doing things, see what's working, see what isn't, and how you can go back and build it again. But pretty straightforward that. All right, so those are the 5 steps: diagnose, prioritize, practice, perform, and reflect and adjust. If you and your team can do all of those things, that's a systematic way to build capacity. It's not leaving things up to chance, because you're thinking about all of the steps that you need to in order to make a change. All right, thought it might be interesting for you. Yeah, hope it was.